Okay, Trump claims the FBI took his passports during the Mar-a-Lago raid. Let's get to
This morning with
America.
that battle over that FBI seizure of documents from former President Trump's Florida home, with Trump now calling for the release of the unredacted affidavit.
I'm sure they have good takes, by the way, the Radio Free Amanda. I'm just, I mean, but that is like funny to, I have to mention it. As much as I love high-speed rail and shit, as much as I believe Top G is killing it by offering all Chinese people sparkling water, okay? And he calls it Chinese prosperity. Right? Top G is a top G is a top G. And he wants every Chinese person to have a Bugatti. It's not like Top G actually likes free speech.
Behind the search.
The Justice Department is fighting to keep the affidavit under seal, saying that releasing it could jeopardize the ongoing criminal investigation that has potential implications for national security. Our senior national correspondent, Terry Moran, is in Washington with more for us. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning, Robin. This morning, former President Trump is battling back against the Justice Department. He is demanding that the department release to him and to the public the underlying evidence and justification for the search at his Mar-a-Lago residence. It is a hardball tactic in this high-stakes struggle. This morning, former President Donald Trump is calling for the immediate release of the completely unredacted affidavit behind.
Oh, dude, why did you ban this guy? He said, do you actually think you're fighting for what is right with your pansy boy picture behind you? You're an anti-white racist little bitch. Dude, come on. You can't be banning motherfuckers like this. At least until they say some other stuff. Oh, he's back. He said, you're a clown. Give me more. 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 Come on. You got to do better than that, though. If you're going to be in here and we're going to play with you, you have to be better than that. You can't just be like, you're a clown. And yes, I am an anti-white racist. I was quite literally banned from this platform for my horrifying anti-white racism. It shocked the world. It shocked the nation.
Behind last week's FBI search of his Florida residence. But the Department of Justice wants that affidavit, a sworn document that provides justification for a search and thus a possible roadmap to the case, to remain sealed to protect witnesses in its investigation into Donald Trump's alleged mishandling of classified information.
They certainly don't want to put former President Trump or anyone close to him on notice of what they are looking at.
The Justice Department argues that publishing the affidavit would reveal specific investigative techniques and could even compromise their investigation. That investigation is a criminal probe with national security implications. DOJ revealing it has witnesses cooperating in this investigation and indicating that a grand jury is involved. Now, some lawmakers are also demanding answers. The top Democrat and Republican on the Senate Intelligence Committee have asked the Director of National Intelligence and the DOJ to provide the classified documents retrieved by the FBI, 11 sets in total.
The best part of this passport story is that the Trump team was notified that filter teams found the passports and set up a time/place to return them before Trump tweeted that out on Truth Social. Just the best lying. Yeah, I mean, listen, you got to make the most of it, okay? From what I understand, some of the documents that they have that they refuse to give back to the government when they asked for it via subpoena were, like genuinely serious stuff. And obviously they had the opportunity to explain what had actually happened, which they refused to do so. So obviously, there's a lot of different components of the story, but including, but not limited to, the fact that, he's trying to make the most of this. He's like, oh, they took my passports. It's like, yeah, they did. They found that they took your passports and they wanted to give it back to you. Okay? And instead, you're just like trying to make the most of it as best as you can. Come on, boy. Chat back, bitch. Anti-white racist little punk thinking you can be racist towards my people. Now I'm back in the main chat. Bitch boy had put me in silent chat. You're all losers. Okay, this guy is just kind of sad. He's just really loving the, I think he's just loving the attention that you guys are giving him. Yeah, it's just, that's so sad. It's not working, brother. He said silent chat. I don't even think he's a Zoomer. He has to be like probably older, right? If he doesn't fucking know what like being banned is. Racism towards whites will not be allowed. What are you going to do about it? Yeah, okay. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? Nothing. That's what I thought. All right.
Along with an assessment of potential risks to national security as a result of their mishandling at Mar-a-Lago. The Democratic chairs of the House Intelligence and Oversight Committees requested a similar assessment. Sources tell ABC.
Okay, look, here's why. First of all, you're like probably 40 years old. I'm sorry we're better than you. You're jealous of my race. Every single one of you saying F white people. Here's the problem. Okay? It is kind of your fault because you're spending time on Twitch instead of, repopulating the white race. But you can't because you're a fucking loser, right? Part of the reason why you're a fucking loser is because you say stuff like this. And it's sad. It's really sad. And you're fearful for no reason. You're fearful of people having consensual sex with your mom. You're fearful that the white race, which is supposedly a race, I guess, that has expanded and also gotten smaller throughout time, is under attack somehow. Because people have told you that it's under attack. But the thing is, just get better. Okay? Get better. Also, I'm white. Is that Andrew Tate? You a self-loathing white? I do not loathe myself at all. Your beach. Okay, I'm bored. I thought he was going to give us something good. Also, white people save the Jews from extermination is such a funny fucking take. Extermination in the hands of who? Oh, that's right. White people. That's true. So that, like, like who was doing the extermination? Bunch of sissy boys. You're a big tough guy, dude. It's like saying white people freed the slaves. I mean, they probably say that as well. Imagine using your 15 minutes of fame to say stupid shit. We need to thank you. Aw. All right, that's enough. We've gotten enough out of this guy. He's not good content, unfortunately. You could have been entertaining, you could have been engaging, and yet you chose to just fire off in the most boring way possible. Either 45 or 12, I can't tell. Yeah. I gave you the opportunity. I really wanted you to fucking pop off. All right, let's run this back here.
By the FBI, 11 sets in total, along with an assessment of potential risks to national security as a result of their mishandling at Mar-a-Lago. The Democratic chairs of the House Intelligence and Oversight Committees requested a similar assessment. Sources tell ABC News investigators are now scrubbing through security footage subpoenaed from Mar-a-Lago as they try to retrace the movements of these classified materials and determine whether the country's national secrets have been compromised. As a candidate, Donald Trump vowed to safeguard classified material.
In my administration.
This was great. Which also cucked him in the end because, he literally increased the penalty for espionage which now he's charged with. He also appointed the FBI director who is conducting the investigation into retrieving the classified information that he was keeping, not allowed to. He also appointed the magistrate as well, if I'm not mistaken, or it was a Trump-appointed Republican judge. Wasn't even too fond of Trump himself. So there's just like nothing more cucked than being Donald Trump at this point. It's just you're hoisted by your own petard. Made it more illegal, hired all the people who will imprison him. Yeah, it's great. He built the gun, loaded it, and still accidentally shot himself in the foot.
I'm going to enforce all laws concerning the protection of classified information. No one will be above the law.
But now, under investigation himself, he's changing his tune and his arguments. At first denouncing the raid as a political witch hunt, but then claiming that he had declassified the documents found at Mar-a-Lago anyway.
Yeah, actually, many people don't know this. Many people don't know this, but the FBI planted the documents, which I declassified immediately. In my mind.
Some of which were marked SCI, that means from the most sensitive U.S. intelligence sources. Trump's also claiming that the FBI agents seized 3 of his passports during the raid. ABC News confirmed that's true, but all 3 have been returned and 2 were already expired. Amid attacks on the FBI by Trump and other Republicans, there has been an
Thank you. Not exactly KB and Alessandro, if I get this
increase in threats and acts of violence towards law enforcement, including a Pennsylvania man who was charged Monday for threatening law enforcement officials in the days after the Mar-a-Lago raid, writing in one post, "My only goal is to kill more of them before I drop."
Meanwhile, in Georgia, in an unrelated investigation into Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election, their prosecutors in Fulton County have told Rudy Giuliani, Trump's lawyer in those battles, that he is a target of the investigation, which means it is possible Giuliani could be indicted. Robin?
So the Chapo boys, I was listening to them this morning, and they pointed out something really interesting about this, which is something that I had not considered as well, which is the idea that Donald Trump potentially wanted to, run a separate grift on top of like basically every single grift that he ran when he was in the White House. But like whistleblowers had already mentioned that the information that Donald Trump had in these classified documents, like specifically pertaining to possibly, allegedly, nukes and nuclear information, was handed off to the Saudis, or at least they were interested in handing it off to the Saudis. Okay. And what's wonderful about that is that, like, that, as they called, as they mentioned, was like actually really fucked up. Okay, in comparison to like I don't know, fucking calling Ukraine or whatever, or the other shit that he was impeached for. But having said that, okay, having said all of that, someone, I guess, in the State Department didn't want to make that big of a deal out of it at the time when he was president. Or maybe they just didn't have the opportunity to make a bigger deal out of it at the time. Which is wild. Miskiv was going to Saudi to recover our classified documents, and you stopped him. I see you listen to Chapo too. No, I did. I did listen to Chapo. I was listening to Chapo right before I started. And there was a probe already. Like, a probe into Donald Trump's interactions with Saudi Arabia has resurfaced. This was like back from like 2017 or something. But a probe had already resurfaced following a report FBI agents who raided the former president's Florida residence were seeking documents related to nuclear weapons. Citing anonymous experts in classified information, the Washington Post said the research showed concern among U.S. government officials about what kind of information could be located at the Mar-a-Lago club and whether it could fall into the wrong hands. Okay? The House of Representatives report highlighted whistleblowers' concerns with the Trump administration's efforts to transfer sensitive nuclear technology to Saudi Arabia and was tweeted on Thursday by Judd Legum, who runs the Popular Information newsletter. We don't know why Trump took classified nuclear docs, he said in a follow-up tweet, but certain nuclear information would have very high economic value to Saudi Arabia and other governments. And this is from 2019. Fordham University law professor, why would Trump want to keep nuclear documents? It is time to review the 2019 House Oversight Committee's stunning allegations of nuclear corruption between the Trump administration and Saudi Arabia and Qatar. That committee report made a number of accusations against the Trump administration, including that it tried to rush the transfer of highly sensitive U.S. nuclear technology to Saudi Arabia. This was without congressional review and in potential violation of the Atomic Energy Act that restricts the export of U.S. nuclear technology. Now, obviously, for those of you who are wondering, like, well, how the fuck would Saudi Arabia develop like a nuclear program off of like this confidential information? They don't have to personally do that. They can do it in Pakistan. They can take that information, which is another client state to the United States of America, alongside our incredibly important ally in Saudi Arabia itself. Okay? Why would you put nukes in your title? Because we are talking about nukes currently as you are asking that dumbass fucking question. Pakistan already has nukes, but they can also get, they can develop better nukes, different nukes. Okay? The report also raised questions about the relationship between White House and Riyadh following the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, which was met with equivocation by President Trump and other top administration officials. The report said that the U.S. strong private commercial interests have been pressing aggressively for the transfer of highly sensitive nuclear technology to Saudi Arabia, and this posed a potential risk to U.S. national security absent adequate safeguards. No, Kushner didn't get paid $2 million. Kushner got paid $2 billion with a B. These commercial entities stand to reap billions of dollars through contracts associated with constructing and operating nuclear facilities in Saudi Arabia, it added. However, in July 2019, the Republican staff of the House Oversight Committee rejected Democrats' claims that the Trump administration committed wrongdoings in its dealings with the Middle Eastern kingdom. The report said that the firm IP3 International, comprised of former U.S. national security officials pushing to build nuclear power plants in Saudi Arabia, had kept Congress in the loop. Also, the Trump administration was not rushing nuclear technology to the kingdom, nor had it skirted requirements for congressional notification. The evidence currently before the committee does not show impropriety in the proposed transfer of nuclear energy technology to Saudi Arabia, the Republicans said. Oh, wow. Well, I guess if they said that, then that's fine. Also, 24-hour man, thank you for the 10 gifted subs. Meanwhile, Trump's daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, has called the FBI search of Mar-a-Lago outrageous. Christina Bobb said that. Yada, yada, yada. We already know that part. But basically, this was an active and ongoing problem in a sea of other controversies at the time. But considering that, considering that they had already accounted for it, like they had said that, these are former contractors that want to build nuclear facilities in Saudi Arabia, that it was fine. I personally love the idea that the country most responsible for 9/11 wants to get America's nuclear program. It is so awesome. Fuck it, YOLO. Literally just let's see. Let's really spice it up. You know what I mean? Do you think he purposely didn't give the files back for the publicity? No. I think he purposely didn't give the files back because it's incriminating. The files might not necessarily just be about nukes. Some of the classified information there might also be about what Donald Trump did. Like, top secret classification can imply either direct information about the nuclear program that he had, or it could be information about his dealings with Saudi Arabia. Will there be real consequences? Who knows? This is still, remember, speculation. Trump did the Live Golf Tour and said that is Saudi-backed and said, we never got to the bottom of who did 9/11. Except he also ran on Saudi Arabia doing 9/11. And he also said that he was going to declassify information revolving around 9/11. That was another false campaign promise that he made. So remember that. And the Live Golf Tournament was happening at the Trump golf course, of course. And the Live Golf Tournament is another way for Saudi Arabia to reaffirm its allegiances with powerful, wealthy former presidents like Donald Trump. And listen, if they clap the Rosenbergs over this, they got to at least put Trump in jail. Yeah, but you have to understand, Rosenbergs gave the nukes and the nuke information to the USSR, and the USSR is bad. Whereas Trump gave the nuclear information to Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia is our ally. The fact that Saudi Arabia or the kingdom's family had a role in 9/11 does not change that reality, because they have oil, and oil is good, and they're important. They're an important trade partner for us. So therefore, giving Saudi Arabia nukes, or allowing the nuclear proliferation of Saudi Arabia, done by, of course, former national security officials in a company ran by America's greatest minds, is actually a good thing, not a bad thing. Whenever I do something illegal and I get caught, I give the person who caught me your name. So I'm sorry if that gets you in trouble. Don't worry about it. We'll deal with it. It's a no-win. The government won't release info about top secret docs, so Trump gets to claim it's a witch hunt. Any thoughts on maybe this is an inside job? No, that's not true. So they could. The problem is, I think the FBI won't, because they're pussies. And it's the same exact reason as to why the FBI originally did not want to even make a bigger deal out of this, and asked politely, time and time again, to get this information back, to retrieve this information. But this is known. And the irony is, of course, this happened literally after Khashoggi was killed, and people were kind of anti-Saudi Arabia in the media. The Trump administration granted 2 authorizations to U.S. companies to share sensitive nuclear power information with Saudi Arabia shortly after the killing of journalist Jamal Khashoggi in October, a U.S. senator who saw the approval said on Tuesday. The timing of the approvals is likely to heap pressure on the administration of President Donald Trump from lawmakers who become increasingly critical of the United States. Support for Saudi Arabia since Khashoggi was killed in the Saudi consulate in Istanbul in October. Tim Kaine in the Membrane, a Democrat from Virginia, called the timing of the approvals shocking and said that it adds to a disturbing pattern of behavior of the administration's policy on Saudi Arabia. The Department of Energy granted the first part 810 authorization on October 18th, 16 days after Khashoggi was killed. The second occurred on February 18th. U.S. authorities have concluded that the responsibility for Khashoggi's death went to the highest levels of Saudi government. Riyadh has denied that Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman was involved. The authorizations were among 7 granted to U.S. companies by Trump's administration since 2017 as Washington and Riyadh negotiate a potential wider agreement to help Saudi Arabia develop its first 2 nuclear power reactors. The Energy Department has kept information in the approvals of Saudi Arabia confidential, citing protection of business interests. Once again, going back to obviously what Juniper has said time and time again, America's not a real country, but instead 9 corporations and a trench coat. The department confirmed the 2 authorizations were issued after the killing of Khashoggi, but did not respond to a question about why the names of the companies have not been released. In the past, 810 approvals have been made available for the public to view at the department's headquarters. 810 approvals. An 810 authorization simply provides U.S. companies the ability to compete in the international civil nuclear market. Lawmakers have been anxious to keep abreast of talks on nuclear power development between the administration and Riyadh to make sure any deal contains strict nuclear non-proliferation standards. Saudi Arabia and Washington had begun talks about nuclear power development before Trump's presidency. By the way, that's the other part of this process. Like Tim Kaine's like, oh my God, I can't believe that they're like doing nuclear proliferation and giving like state secrets over to Saudi Arabia. Okay. Well, you know, prior administrations would have done this as well, and Joe Brandon would probably do this as well, legally. Okay? So that's the other part of this. They don't give a fuck. Once again, Donald Trump's biggest issue in this circumstance is that he probably tried to do this like he's tried to do everything else. He could have done it in the legal route, but the legal route is not as fun, and it doesn't offer him or Jared Kushner additional funding, okay? His fucking idiotic fail son-in-law, additional opportunity to make money off of it. So you got to do it in a scammy way, and you got to do that scam in the most obvious, like, overt scam way possible. And that's the problem. And then that shit can also bite you in the ass, even if everyone else does it, because you did it in a way, and you're also Donald Trump, so obviously people are pissed off at you, and they want to use it against you, and they're going to use it against you. Last year, the Crown Prince said the kingdom did not want to acquire a nuclear bomb, but if its arch rival Iran did, we will follow suit as soon as possible. Late last month, Trump declared a national emergency because of tensions with Iran and blah, blah, blah. We already know that, which Iran should get a nuclear program if they choose to do so. Riyadh plans to issue a multi-billion-dollar tender in 2020 to build its first 2 nuclear power reactors. The United States, South Korea, Russia, China, and France are competing for the business. Reactor builder Westinghouse, which has been hit by a downfall in the U.S. nuclear power industry, would likely sell components to Saudi Arabia in any deal involving U.S. technology. Westinghouse is now owned by Brookfield Asset Management Incorporated. Nice. So yeah. The Hasanabi doctrine rules, please. Yeah, I mean, of course. Number one rule in the Hasanabi doctrine for state building is acquire a nuke. Or don't give up the nukes if you have one. Ukraine did, and they got cucked, okay? It doesn't even matter if you can't fucking figure out what the launch codes are. You should still keep the nukes. Ukraine didn't keep the nukes and nudes. They didn't keep the nukes, and they got fucked.
And Terry, the Trump's organization's longtime CFO, Alan Weissenberg, is due in court this week as well?
That's right, Robin. Alan Weisselberg was the chief financial officer.
They're hitting Trump on 3 different avenues right now. One, his CFO, who is being investigated for tax fraud, and the Trump, Trump's own company is being investigated for tax fraud and tax evasion. Number 2, Rudy Giuliani is also being investigated for election meddling in Georgia. And number 3 is the fucking possible. Number 3 is the possible involvement that he had in January 6th / number 4, I guess, is the nuke stuff, the classified intel.